Quick Kitty gonna be first up versus Two Broken. Looks like both of them are just going at each other. Both of them marksmanships? Both marksmanship hunters. Quick Kitty is taking a bit of damage though. What is going? Wait, Beast Mastery. Wait, are you Beast Mastery? No, you are marksman. Why did I see like a random Cobra shot though? What was that? Or maybe just your weapon. Maybe it's like an auto attack for your weapon. That might be it because you do have like a Cobra. Two Broken does go for the reset. Volley to follow. Does he take him out already? Wait, hold on a second. Quick Kitty could just be down for the count. Quick Kitty. Oh, looks like they are down for the count. What was that? Is that a bleed? Is that a poison? What is going on there for a second? That happened way too fast, boys. Chicago gonna be up next as the two marksmen hunters came at each other and just blasted and shut it out of the game. Two Broken trying to see if he can get an angle into Chicago. Actually able to break through quite a bit of their defenses pretty early on though. Do they go for feint death potentially? Maybe a freezing trap, scatter shot. Do they have himself a proper go? Maybe a knockback on Chicago? I think try to maybe go for a knockback, that or like a root. Does get himself a trap around the corner. Is it enough? That looks like it's not enough. Feint death, turtle shell. Try to see if he can potentially escape Chicago. Does definitely need to go for some sort of recovery. Void pressure to get it set up. Does Chicago realize it? I think Chicago maybe realized it. Does jump off of the platform. Raptors are chasing after the hunter. But looks like Two Broken kind of able to evade them. Camo, if you can escape yourself scot-free. Ooh, does end up disengaging out. Trying to make sure they stick it to the outskirts to try to avoid Chicago as the best they can. Freezing trap to follow. Sniper shot is going to crack through defenses quite a bit though. Chicago is going to try to see if he can go for it. So, this is Static Totem trying to grip Broken back in. Root to follow is going to be a Sunder. Breaking out with a trinket. Does give himself a little bit more help to work with the fortification of the bear. Chicago taking lots of damage though. Could be in that execute range. Does Two Broken have himself the silence though. Trying to go for an interrupt. Doesn't quite get Chicago into a big death shock. Is going to puncture through the defenses. Big kill for Two Broken. Does still takes big zaps, but Chicago is going to be frozen into a freezing trap for just a second. Does at least limit their movement for a moment. Does Two Broken have a now potentially? Do they have a camo? This could be anyone's game, honestly. Two Broken kind of limited what they can really do. Scatter shot on Chicago. It is going to be heavily DR'd. Do they maybe have a knockback trap? Does have a root trap with the charge trap. It is going to slow down Chicago momentarily. Flame shock, storm strikes. I don't really know if you got much left. Trying to see if you can slow down Chicago. Does get a silence with the slow of that chimeric poison. This is going to be a freezing trap, but he does get eaten by one of the Raptors. Does Chicago have the Maelstrom for lightning bolt? Does get the big lightning bolt. Two Broken taking a lot of damage. Feint death. Camo. Does he escape it? No way. Whoa, my God. He does sneak around him. Oh no, the root totem is going to get you out in the open. No, he's stuck right past him. Oh my God, scatter shot. 20% DR. Is it enough though? Does drop a freezing trap on a Chicago? What is happening? Oh, you definitely have a flame check on you. There's no way you don't. Oh, it's over, isn't it? Oh, no. I was so close. So close. He almost had it for a second there. He actually was able to crack through his defenses quite a bit, too. Elite Shaman going to be up next. Try to go for a Sunder off of that last onto Chicago as they do go for the knockback. There goes the Static Totem. Trying to see if he can boop Elite Shaman. Looks like it's a lot more consistent than knockback. That's basically like a grip. Well done. Look at that. That's so cool. Twice Chicago's been able to use it. One to grip the hunter to him, and Elite Shaman just move him past the pillar. That is so good. It's going to be Elite Shaman with full cooldowns at the ready, but Chicago trying to see if he can avoid him as best as they can. It's going to go for that Static Totem, trying to see if he can grip him in place. It's going to move him back behind the pillar, trying to make sure the Elite Shaman always just line of sight, and Chicago does not let him really get any good distance on him whatsoever. And Chicago should be able to maybe ramp up. Does have a little bit of cooldowns at the ready. Going to be that counter-strike totem. Chicago better be very, very careful with the counter-strike totem. Looks like, is it counter-strike totem? It is, I think, Elite Shaman's counter-strike totem. Does end up eliminating it. Chicago with a Sunder onto the Shaman. Does the man escape it out of here? Both Shamans are kind of pummeling at each other, but Chicago looks like trying to stay hyper-aggressive here. It's going to take down totems dropped by Elite Shaman, but trying to really stay as aggressive as possible, letting the Guardian Spirits maintain themselves while the wall is active. Just trying to see if they can just tank up and focus on the damage, focus on the offensive, take down Elite Shaman if they can. Counter-strike totem or Sunder totem by Elite Shaman. Capacitor totem by Elite Shaman stunning him, but it's going to be a stun totem back by Chicago. Do they have a double stun totem? Does have a double stun totem. Doesn't even need to. Does get hit with a stun by Moonlight though. It is very, very, very DR'd as Moonlight trying to see if they can close the gap. Light Lasso by Chicago is going to be forcing out Trinket out of the Shadow Priest with a Dark Ascension. Siphon on Chicago. Silence to follow. Mind games. Big damage. Do they go down? Maybe an execute will be enough though. Oh, Chicago! Oh my goodness, I think it's over. And Moonlight does end up taking him out. Nice little setup with a Siphon, Stun, Silence, Mind Games combo. Not much you can really do in that situation. Artemis as a Survival Hunter gonna be up next. I like how you still play the Goblin Survival Hunter. Out of all the things you can play, just like, yeah, Goblin. Goblin Survival Hunter. Wasn't that really good for PvE at some point? It used to be good as a Death Knight when they first introduced Goblin Death Knights, because you could do this trick back in AB. I'll tell you guys in a second. He has oh my god, Moonlight with a mad mind games into Artemis. Does go for a stun. There goes the Turtle Shell. Just trying to see if he can take up this damage. Is going to go for a revive pet. Moonlight was able to eliminate that pet fairly quickly. Does he go for yet another go? It looks like has Dark Ascension back up. It's going to focus on the pet. Shadow Crash around the corner. Artemis does take damage from it. It's going to go for a feign death. It is going to put him in a horror effect for just a second. Definitely needs to get back in there and get outside of Artemis again. I don't really know if he could potentially avoid the traps. This is going to be stunned around the corner. The Hunter putting himself out in the open. Trying to see if he can go for that long range distance fights onto Moonlight. Is going to go for a little bit of healing. Fear by Moonlight. Oh, just walked up to the guy, avoided the traps, narrowly quick fear, blasted him out, taking him out. Spell Stealer gonna be up next. Get hit with the stun. And Spell Stealer trying to see if he can put a rabbit out of the hat or a victory out of his jacket pocket from under. See, mad damage. Oh, I forgot. Arcane mages could just the damage could just sneak up on you. Honestly, I felt like Artemis, or Moonlight rather, he was okay, he was chilling, everything was good, and then I was thinking, okay, it was going to be a disperse or something, and they just blasted. Try to see if you can get in there. It's going to be Palmer 4 on the corner. Axe toss with the second axe toss right after both stuns are out. Tyrant is going to be in play. Mordecai said, and Spell still trying to see if he can avoid the Tyrant instead of avoiding the Tyrant. He's just going to go for the Ice Block, let himself get a little bit of healing while inside of the block. So he's actually just going to wait out a full set of cooldowns for OFC. Try to see if he can blink around the pets. It's going to go for that invis. As long as he can have some line of sight from all these pets, he'll be a-okay. Stun. As OFC has a more or less an idea where Spell Steal would be, was kind of moseying over towards the boxes, but he was still kind of looking around because he wasn't 100% sure. Spell still trying to see if he can avoid the pets, build up a little bit of resources. I think just trying to see if he can get him some missile procs. Big Demon Dog is charged by OFC. Maybe it'll be enough right now. A Spell still trying to find himself a better angle to work with here. Nova onto all these pets. Doesn't really have much help to work with here. May decide to go for maybe Mage Food. He's still trying to build up for procs. I think that's all he's trying to go for is maybe procs and more procs. Trying to maybe go for big damage. Does himself big Arcane Blast, Arcane Surge potentially. The pet is back on him. Does get a juke out in the truck. Arcane Surge right now is going to go for maybe big damage, but man is taking a lot of health and damage right now himself. Big barrage of the pet. Looks like he's taking out the pet, but may just go. He's trying to see if he can maybe turn the attention onto the pet, because at this point, at 54% dampening, what are you going to do in this situation? There really isn't much you can do. Oh my goodness. And Hater God X is going to be up next. Although it looks like the imps were attacking him a little bit. Maybe one of the Felguards also was clearing him down little by little. I don't think OFC wanted to do it on purpose or anything like that, though. Hater God doesn't go for Trinket really early on, though. Shadow Meld was used, is in Incarnation, just letting dots melt down the Warlock. The guy did go for a wall, but he's still in trouble, still bleeding out profusely. Second stun by the Feral Druid. It's going to be another. Trying to see if he can combine the bites and the bleeds together as a Demon Dog, a Demon Army coming out. Obviously, trying to see if he can go for a big old Tyrant. Does have any subs with the Feral? Big bite. Oh, Hater God does end up taking him out. With setback going to be last one left over for the team 2, trying to go for a bit of a ring of fire. Knock back onto Hater. Hater leaping back over to him. Bash to follow. He's got himself a Pyroblast. Pyroblast again. Is it going to be enough? The Hater God does have himself the Heart of the Wild to give himself a little bit extra protection, a little bit more healing. But is it going to be enough though? Does he have himself friends of regen? Oh no, he just burns out. That is unfortunate, I guess. You did walk into a pretty high dampener game though. Oh my goodness. Chicago with 2. Utilizing the totem. Moonlight actually does get to consume the souls of these boys a couple of times. Double mind games for him as well.